for them to say that they didn't like my book because I present all problems as solvable, you're damn right I do. That's 100% of who I am. And here's why. You do the same thing I do with this podcast, right? Yep. How many people have you had sit in the chair across from you and have absolutely no business being anywhere near the success that they have? I mean, I came off a boat from Vietnam with nothing and now I own 200 doors, no education. Where's the systemic that held that guy down? Mm-hmm. Why is that guy winning? Right. Because people that want to view their problems as solvable will find solutions. Correct. People that want to view their problems as problems with no solution will view them as excuses.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the System. I'm your host, Leo Climaco. Today, we are coming live from a special location in Las Vegas. We are in an incredible studio that belongs to John Gafford, a real estate mogul out here who is just, I'll let him say it. He is running the show here. There's no one in Vegas that's doing better in real estate than John is right now. He has his new book out called Escaping the Drift. I love this title because I feel like it goes very well with Out of the System. The idea is very similar. So I can't wait to dig in and hear everything that John has to say about this book, how to make the world happen for you and not to you. John, welcome.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Incredible.
Thanks for coming in, dude.
Yeah, man. It's an incredible studio, incredible facility, incredible thing that you've built here.
Yeah, we've been at this business, Simply Vegas. We're the largest luxury real estate brokerage in Nevada. Actually,
it's incredible.
585 agents that work for us. We've got we're a completely vertically integrated company where anything that you do that touches a real estate transaction, from title and escrow to mortgage to solar to concierge to anything, we own it all.
So, how long have you been doing this?
We've been at this now for 16 years with Simply Vegas. I've been in the real estate business almost 20 years. I got into it randomly. I got into it after appearing on a reality show. So that's how I got in real estate.
Which reality show?
So I was on The Apprentice. I was on the third season.
With the president.
With the president, yes. So spoiler alert, I got fired on live TV by the 47th president of the United States.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not many can say that.
Not many can say that. Well, I think a lot more can say it now because I think he just fired Christy Noem today, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where it was a great experience. It was an unbelievable experience. And how I got on the show is a good story. And I'll tell it if you like. But being on that show changed my life. And it wasn't so much because of the fame that came with it. I mean, we were super, super famous for a hot second back then. I think something like 20 million people watched the finale of that show. And season 3 was kind of the peak for the ratings of that show. And then they went down after that. And that's when I was on season 3. But being around, that was the first time in my life that I was ever really around 17 other super high performers that were getting it.
How old were you?
At the time, I was 32. I was kind of a late bloomer.
What a great age.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. In my early life, I had a lot of cool jobs. I did a lot of cool stuff, but I never really made any money or had a bunch of wealth. Okay. In my early 20s, I worked for Hooters of America, the restaurant chain, which was a cool job back then. For a young single dude in his 20s, was a great job. Rose to the ranks with them pretty quick. But maxed out my earning potential at 28 years old or whatever it was. I was kind of making all the money I was ever going to make there, and it wasn't a lot.
Where was this?
Well, for Hooters, I moved all over the country for them. And that's another story. But yeah, it was like I became known as like a corporate fix-it guy for them. If there was a store that was underperforming or a store that was bad, they would send me. And I would go and kind of turn it around.
It's a good rep.
Yeah, it was. Well, It was. But unfortunately, the only problem that goes with that is I would buy furniture based on how much it weighed, not how it looked. Because I knew I was going to be picking up and carrying it to a U-Haul at some point in the next 3 months. It's like you go into the furniture store, you're picking the couch up. That's literally how I furniture shop. Because it would be the president would call me at some point and tell me he needed a favor. And at first the answer would be what? And then it became, every time he would say it, I'd just say where. And it would hear. And it was really cool because I got to move all over the country and see a lot of different parts of the United States.
At a young age, too.
At a young age, which was very, very cool. But again, the life that I was living wasn't a life by my own design.
Right.
The fact that the phone could ring at any time of any day and they would tell me that my job now is 1,000 miles from where I was standing and I had to be there in 2 days. And that happened a lot.
Wow.
And so many people kind of lived that same life. Then from there, another cool job I had I wound up as the GM of what Esquire magazine called the #1 nightclub on the East Coast of the United States.
Okay.
Which was Cobalt Lounge in Atlanta, in Buckhead. For those of you who remember that back in the day, nobody will remember that club, but everybody will remember this one incident because that was an amazing club that was just printing money. And then Super Bowl of 2000, a football player by the name of Ray Lewis came in with some friends. And that wound up turning into a murder accusation and a trial. And that started in our nightclub. And the person that called 911 did not know where they were, even though they were 2 blocks down the street. And they said, I'm at Cobalt Lounge. So the next morning, we went from having one of the busiest nights we'd ever had to every news truck in America sitting in front of our business.
Wow.
And, as my dad's like, well, at least you got to be on ESPN. I'm like, well, for all the wrong reasons. I'm like, I was never a good enough athlete to get there, but I got there for all the wrong reasons. And that was a cool job, but I wasn't going to get rich on that. I was still working for some other guys.
Yeah.
Right. And even you look at that opportunity and when that opportunity kind of fell apart because of that situation, I lost my gig. I lost my job. And then, just more bar stuff and doing different club stuff. And at 20, I guess it was maybe 28 or 9 years old, working in the bar business, I developed bleeding ulcers. And I go to the doctor and the doctor's like, tell me about your diet. And I'm like, Maker's Mark and cigarettes. He's like, okay. And he's like, how many hours a week you working? I'm like, I don't know, 100. And he's like, looked at me, he goes, you need a life change. Like you need to change your life.
Yeah.
This is not going to go well for you. So I was like, all right. So I called my buddy Rick Wells, who was vice president at the time of a company called WorldCom, another implosion. It's like my life is this series of implosions. And
why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's all by design. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in bad luck. I believe all of your choices lead to this. But here's the thing. At this time of my life, I wouldn't have told you that. Every problem that I had was about pointing fingers at other people.
Right.
And we talk about this in the book. It's not till I developed a system of radical accountability for my own self that my life changed. When I started taking responsibility for all the decisions that I was making that were leading to my predicaments, then my life changed. Was
that your pit with that doctor?
No, not really. I mean, it was what it was. But, I called my buddy and I said, hey, I need a change. Give me a job selling telecom, and he's like, I can't give you a job off the street, selling telecom with no sales experience. You need sales experience. I said, all right. So he said, you got 2 choices. I said, what's that? He goes, you can go sell Kirby vacuum cleaners or you can go sell cars. I'm like, what? He goes, either way, you'll have a PhD in sales in 6 months.
It's true.
I'm like, not going to sell vacuum cleaners. I can't do it. So I went and I got a job on a car lot, which to me, going from running this super high-end nightclub and being a guy around town that could get through every velvet rope and every door was open and everything was comped and I was the man. And now I'm a car salesman at a Nissan dealership.
It's quite a drop.
Dude, it was an ego smash for me. But he was right, man. I did get a PhD in sales and I only spent, I think, 3 months at that car dealership. It was 90 days I was there and then off to the next venture. And it's funny because this is where I started to be like, all right, just jumping at any opportunity because I didn't feel like I had a lot of opportunity. Right. So you could have told me, hey, we're going to open up a business selling thermonuclear weapons. And I'd have been like, cool. Do you have any experience building them? No, but I'll figure it out. Let's do it. Right. I'm in. And that's kind of the mentality I had looking for an opportunity. And my sister, who was at the time the COO for some of the top people in Amway, calls me and says, I want to start a nutritional supplement company. She's like, I want to do it with me. And I'm like, yes, I can totally do that. I had no clue about MLM. I had no clue about vitamins. I was not a healthy guy at this point.
I was a part of Amway a long time ago.
I was not a healthy dude at all. I had no idea about any of this stuff or how this stuff worked. But I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do. And it's funny, they talk about serial killers have trophies. Like most people have in their office have all of these trophies of their successes. I have little failures all through my office. And I have a $100,000 bottle of vitamins sitting on my desk because it's the last one sitting there because we made the biggest mistake you can make in business, which was we went and spent a bunch of money on development and product stuff and all of the stuff we did without asking anybody if they wanted to buy them. And turns out nobody wanted to buy any of it. So it was like, this is a giant failure. It's a miserable thing. But what did come out of that was because we were scrambling a little bit at that time. My sister went and took a consulting job because she's genius for this insurance company and came back and said, hey, we're going to open an insurance company. And I said, okay. But at this point, again, what are we doing? Right? Because I need something. I need an opportunity. And I took the Florida insurance course, which is like a 40 or 50 hour course. I took it in one day online and then went and passed the test 2 days later.
Okay.
And we were in the insurance business, right? And this was really cool though, because what we were doing was different. This is where I really started to learn about finding a niche and finding something that is very profitable if you can really help people, which was this. Back in the day, there was Medicare Part A and Part B. That was it, right? Yeah. If you're an old person, you got doctor, you got hospitalization, you got nothing.
Correct.
Drugs, you're on your own. It was all on you to buy your drugs. So you could buy a supplement that would fill in the gaps of your Medicare coverage, but it didn't cover drugs at all. So like this Medicare gap supplement, of which they were all identical by law, they just cost a little different based on how old you were. People would buy them and then what happened, but like most cases, like old people in Florida, especially like their Medicare supplement might cost them $120 a month. They were spending $700 a month on drugs.
Right.
Well, back then the US government had an agreement with all the drug companies, which was this. The drug companies said, you know, they would get in front of Congress and pound their hands and be like, drugs are too expensive for seniors. So the drug companies went and said, whoa, Mr. Legislative Body, we're not bad guys, we're good guys. Here's what we'll do. If you won't screw with us about our drug prices, we'll just give the medicine away for free to seniors that meet certain income requirements. Congress was like, that sounds like a really great idea. That's cool. All right, deal. We won't mess with you about your drug prices. And then the drug companies proceeded to not tell anybody about it. So we became experts in all of these free medicine systems.
Wow.
So I could walk into a senior citizen person, a senior's house that was on a fixed income and say, listen, you're currently paying $120 a month for your Medicare supplement. You're paying $800 a month for your drugs. We're going to move you on to a new supplement with us. It's going to cost you a little more because you're older. So your supplement might go from $120 to maybe $160, but your drug bill is going to go to $0 and we're going to manage all of it for you.
Wow.
And we absolutely crushed with that business. I mean,
that's incredible.
Especially in Florida. I mean,
what a loophole.
Dude, we couldn't write policies fast enough. We were printing money. It was great. And that was the first thing I would say that I ever really kind of built on my own with my sister anyway, without, you know, corporate interference or anybody else. But that was the first thing I really built on my own that was really working. And that's what led to kind of, we were doing this and then The Apprentice was on and my sister was like, oh, hey, these guys want to go on do you want to go try out for The Apprentice? My sister was a huge fan. I'm like, I have no interest in this. No interest. And she was like, let's go. So she dragged me, kind of kicking and screaming. And we showed up at the casting call and it was in Jacksonville and there was thousands of people there. And I'm a really tall dude. My sister's very tall as well. And we were both power suited up and people were walking up to us and saying like, oh, hey, where do we go? And like, dude, we're just here just like you, right? So we wound up at a table and what they essentially did was they just cast out topics and had you debate at the table.
Okay.
Right?
Trying to see how you think, how you process.
Well, yeah. Well, just trying to see how quick you were on your feet. And then my sister and I demolished everybody at the table. And at the end of it, they're like, okay, if this was the boardroom, who would you fire? And it came to me and I was like, well, I was going to fire somebody. I'd fire this person because this is your one shot. And she hasn't said a word. It gets to her. I go, who would you fire? You can fire him back if you want. She's like, oh no, he'd be great. And so anyway, after it was over, they called me back and said, we can't call you and your sister, obviously, but we're going to call you. My sister was thrilled. And then they just started kept sending me stuff, right? Kept sending me applications and every application was 150 pages and it was had to be filled out in triplicate. It was crazy, all this stuff. So I started getting it, at first I was disinterested. And then I'm like, okay, now I've made it through to this round. And then they're telling me, okay, what we're going to do is take our top 50 people to LA for finals. And I'm like, okay, now my competitiveness is kicking in.
Right.
I want
your top 50.
I'm like, if I make it to top 50, I'm going to call it a win. So I get the call, you made it to top 50. Okay, cool. So I fly you to LA. And this was a defining moment for me in my life, which is why I'm telling the story. We get to LA and it's 50 people. We're staying at the Embassy Suites in Santa Monica. And they say, come, you're planning on being here for a week.
Okay.
Don't wear anything that could designate where you're from. No college stuff, no city stuff, nothing. And you're going to come and be locked in your room. We're going to come get you when we need you. Other than that, plan on being in your room. You'll get out 1 hour a day for gym or to go to sit by the pool. And when you go to meals, you'll sit at a table by yourself.
Wow.
So they took over the whole hotel and you would go to dinner, breakfast, crazy. And there was 50 people
One time by themselves.
Yeah, not talking. Because the reason was when you met, they wanted you to meet on camera.
For the first time.
They want you to meet actually on camera.
So you've all seen each other.
You've seen everybody.
You haven't spoken to anyone.
So you have no idea what's going on. So you're going through and you're doing psychological tests, you're taking IQ tests, you're meeting with people. And after about 2 days, I started noticing, I'm at dinner and now there's 32 people here. They're sending people home. They're cutting people through the week. So I'm like, okay, cool. My odds are getting better. It's like my odds are getting better at every meal. So the day came and it was Mark Burnett. It was the day to meet Mark Burnett, who was executive producer. And so they go, they called themselves fluffers, I guess. But one of the production assistants, one of the PAs comes down and goes, okay, dude, you're going to meet Burnett today. So this is what you need to do. You need to make a good first impression. You need to bang this out of the park. Okay, cool. So we go upstairs and these big double doors open and there's Mark Burnett sitting on a couch with like NBC brass sitting all around him. There's probably 20 people in the room.
Wow.
Cameras running. I walk in, stick my hand out. I go, how you doing, Mr. Burnett? My name's John Gafford. Stick my hand out. And he looks at my hand and he places one peanut M&M in my hand. He just looks at it, he's eating peanut M&Ms, places one M&M in my hand. Kind of look at it and I'm like, but I'm like, I'm going to roll with it. I'm like, how you doing? And I roll into this diatribe about why I'm the best candidate and I'd be the best employee for Trump and why, all of my accolades, some of which I probably embellished and all this stuff. And he starts asking me questions like, hey, so your buddy Rick tells me, or told our production staff that he thinks your girlfriend Kristen's going to dump you soon. What do you think about that? And I'm like, just shucking this off and then right back to how great I'm as a business person. Needless to say, like I have a pretty high EQ, so I know when I'm losing the room.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look over and people are like looking at their phones and looking at this. And I'm like, this is not going well, right? This is going incredibly bad. So I walk out of the room and I go downstairs and I start packing my stuff. Cause I've seen the other ghosts disappear this week. I know it's about to happen to me. So I start packing my stuff and, halfway through it, there's a knock at the door. Paul walks in again, Paul Gordon, who was a PA. And he goes, they want to see you again. And I go, why? He goes, they just want to see you again. I said, okay, dude, hang on a minute. If I'm going back up there, I'm going my way this time. I'm going different.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to hit the mini bar. So I hit the mini bar and I walk back up and those doors are there and bam, I kick the doors open as hard as I can.
Really?
They hit the wall. Bam. Everybody in there jumps. I walk in and I go to Burnett and I go, buddy, before you open your mouth and say one more thing to me, let me tell you why you should put me on your little television show. I said, when you make an investment in me, you get back 1,000 times or 100 times that you invest. And I pulled a bag of M&Ms that I had out of the mini bar, out of my pocket, threw them in his face. I said, thanks for the fucking M&M. And I walked out. And that's how I got on the show. In that moment.
It's so impressive.
That moment, like, okay, so let's dissect that moment.
Do it.
And I talk about it in the book, right? There's a couple things that happened there.
Yeah.
Number one was, I didn't analyze the game. I was playing by the wrong rules.
Yes.
And I talk about this. I walked in there like it was a job interview the first time.
Right.
They were not hiring anybody. They were casting a television show. They needed somebody that they thought might be a little crazy and create ratings. So that's what I was going to give to them. And second was this. I had a choice in that moment, which is to analyze the risk of where I was. Because up until that point or up until that area of my life or that season of my life when I was younger, I was not good at evaluating risk. It was like, hey, we're going to do this. Yep, let's do it.
Right.
Without really weighing the upside or downside to it. But now I'm like, in this moment, it was like, let's analyze the risk. What's the downside? 0, because I've already completely screwed this up.
Right.
It's going nowhere. Or I can go in there and create one balls out moment that's going to be unforgettable to these people and make me undeniable to cast. And that's what I chose to do. So evaluating risk in that moment and really understanding what they were doing. That's a huge moment changer in my life.
Where do you think the cojones came from? Because a lot of people will have the thought, but won't do it.
I think, honestly, I think ego plays a little bit of a role in it.
For sure.
Right? And when he put that M&M in my hand, I was like, this limey son of a bitch. Like, I cannot believe that you're disrespecting me like this. Like, I flew all the way here and this is where we're at. Yeah. Because one of the things about me, I guess, is I never view myself over other people, but I definitely don't ever view anybody else over me either. Like, we're all just people trying to, get by on this rock that's hurling through space at 1 million miles an hour, whatever it is, right? Like, you're not better than me because you might have more dollars or more experience or whatever else. Right. We're just people. So exactly. I don't elevate people and I damn sure don't let people devalue me.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
So when he did that, it kind of pissed me off. So I was like, if I'm going out, I'm going out on my own terms. I didn't feel like I felt like I was going out on bad terms. Now keep in mind, Mark and I had a much better experience going forward. And the name of the book is actually because of him.
Really?
Yeah. People always want, even still, look, if you're listening to this, I understand. We're talking about something that happened 20 years ago. And I'm not sitting here hanging my shingle on the fact that I was on that reality show, because we're also not going to talk about how many touchdowns I scored in high school, which was 0. But we're also not going to talk about that. But it is relevant to the story. So we were on set one day, and I always said I learned more from Burnett watching him work than I ever did from Trump. Watching what he did, because just watching him run that was amazing. It was chaos all the time, and him getting through it. And one day we're getting a task right in front of Trump World Tower, and it was one of those days when just everything was going wrong with production. Like the booms were broke. Like they tried to raise the cameras on these big booms for shots. It wasn't working. Just there were a lot of problems on the set that day, waiting for us to get this task. And Burnett was walking around just kind of storming around, not in the best headspace. And Kristen Kirchner, who was another contestant on the show, she yells at him. She goes, "Hey, Mark, you're treading water today, aren't you?" Like trying to needle him. And I'm like, oh, that's not going to go over well. And he stopped and he shot her this look. And he just gave her a look and he's like, "I never tread water, I swim." And when you think about that one moment, and it's like you hear things sometimes, you don't realize how profound they are till maybe much later. But how many people in life, myself included, to all of the story that we told you up until this point, except for maybe the insurance part, I was drifting. The entire trajectory of my life was being dictated by the currents of chance, by the currents of happenstance, by the will of others.
Yeah.
I was not predicting my own future. I was not plotting my own path. I was floating along with the currents. I was drifting. And so to find the number one key thing you have to do if your life is not where you want it to be, and mine was not, was you've got to understand that you've got to take control of the trajectory of your life. If you're in a situation where somebody is dictating the hours you work, how much money you make, the vacations you can take,
you are not in control.
All of that stuff, like we get one spin on this planet.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying go walk in and tell your boss to pound sand and quit your job.
Right.
But I am saying get a plan to maybe do something with the hours you're not at that job, to maybe set yourself up to escape it.
Yeah.
And which is another reason why I love real estate, because how many people have escaped that monotony through the vehicle of real estate?
So many,
which is one of the reasons I love it. But to get back to the original question, how did I get into real estate? That's how, was The Apprentice. Being on that show was the first time I was around 17 people that were getting it at a high level.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And here's the two things I'll say about that thing, which is I'm pretty good at sizing up where I am IQ-wise in a room.
Okay.
If I walk in and
I know what you mean,
I can say that's that is for sure the smartest person here.
Right.
Right. Like for sure. And I have a couple friends that are just scary smart, and I love them for that reason. But I can size myself up where I'm on the pecking order brains-wise pretty fast. I was really high on the pecking order and brains in this room of these people that were getting it. I was really, really high. However, I was probably way at the bottom at income producing.
Got it.
So I'm like, okay, wait a second. Here's these people that are making way more money than I make.
Something here doesn't make sense.
Right? They're making way more money, but I would put myself in the top percentage here of brains. So where's the disconnect?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on that's causing this disconnect? And that was where I started to say, like, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong vehicle. Maybe I need to be in a better vehicle. And at that time, everybody that was doing very, very well was in real estate. I was not. So when we got out of the show.
And you're around Trump, who does real estate.
Yeah, it was real estate. Yeah. So when we got out of the show, now during post-filming and everything else, the insurance company was still going, but I had become the CEO of a tech firm with my buddy and had exited that firm. So I was kind of, as the show was airing, I was kind of plotting my next move.
Okay.
And Kendra Todd, that when
so you're doing both at the same time.
Yeah, I was doing both. Yeah, the insurance was running itself, and at this point, and I took this gig with him because I thought it'd be fun, and it was a good opportunity to hang out with my buddies and do something that was great. But that opportunity had winded down, and I was looking for kind of my next thing. And Kendra was like, "Why don't you get a real estate license and sell real estate with me? It'll be fun." She lied. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding. It's been great. And over the course of that, from that one moment to here we are later, I love the fact that not has it just changed my life, but it's given me the ability to help so many others change the trajectory of their life. Not just by teaching them the skill sets involved in transacting real estate, but also in the wealth building side of owning real estate.
What was the moment that you knew that was your vehicle? I found my vehicle. What was that moment for you?
I think it was that disparity of intelligence to income that I saw on the show. That's, if I have a toxic trait, that this is it. And I actually had to wind it back. I used to be a member of a bunch of mastermind groups, and I still love them, and I still talk to a bunch of those guys. But I'll go to a mastermind group, and I'll hear somebody making a ton of money in something, and I instantly start thinking, dude, I could do that. I could totally do that. Right? I'll go down that hole and be like, I can do that. Right? Because this is business, just another vehicle.
And now with AI, you give it one prompt, it'll build the whole thing out for you.
I recently just switched to Claude, which was,
I love Claude. I built my open claw.
I still fight. I fight with my open claw bot on Telegram. I don't have him quite where I want him yet.
Yeah.
The Furbs is his name.
The Furbs. Okay.
But even just using the generality of just a straight up OpenAI Claude. I mean, my first thing was I had a program we were rolling out to our agents here, and it was just a high accountability accelerator. That's what I wanted to do. Just because I wanted people to have a room where they could get an accountability partner, and just not, it's not coaching. It's not for newbies. We don't even hire new agents here. I don't even have that program, but just a place where they could cook each other a little bit of pressure to build diamonds. And so I wanted to lay it out. I did what I always do. I said, we're laying it out. I'm doing a Zoom on this day, and here's what we're going to do. So it comes around. I got busy with some other things. Sunday night, I'm like, man, I'm rolling this thing out on Tuesday. I don't have anything for this yet. So I'm like, I'll block off all of Monday. I don't have any appointments. Monday from 8 to 6. I'm like, I can bang this whole program out in that amount of time. Come to work at 8 a.m., turn my computer on, go to chat where I'd been kind of philosophizing some of how to put this together. And I'm like, okay, I need to put a real plan together for this. And chat spit out a page and a half.
Wow.
Like if I was to print it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not what I wanted. So I'm like, you know what? Somebody told me to try Claude. So I just go over to Claude, and I'm doing the Claude bot already. So I'm like, I'll just try normal Claude bot because I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight with my Claude bot right now. I'm going to go over here. And I was like, okay, this is why I'm doing it. This is who it's for. This is what we're doing. This is the bullshit that ChatGPT spit out. Give me, help me build a real manual so I can have an instructor manual that I can pass off to somebody else, as well as a user manual for the people doing. And it spit out 48 page. And I said, this is my website. So make sure that the manual spit out is on brand with my website. And it spit out a manual that looks like it was wild. It asked me maybe 10 questions to fill in the blanks. But by the time I got the document printed, I changed one line. Like there was one thing on it I changed. Wow. And then it was perfect just the way it was. And then this is where my mind got blown. It goes, hey, so they need to track their numbers every day. Do you want me to help you develop the tracking system? So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, a sheet would be great for them to be able to track their numbers. It's great.
Software.
It goes, do you want your own app in HTML? And I was like, yes, I do. And dude, I had a fully functioning full tracker based on the whole manual with leaderboards and all of the stuff. And I done in an hour. And we spun it up with a SQL database, had it launched and live in 1 hour.
That's incredible.
And it was just like, dude, so here it is. Now it's like 11 o'clock. And I'm like, I didn't even plan on building like the system. I just wanted to have like the manual, like a framework done. Yes. And it's crazy. And people say that all the time that, AI won't replace, good people, but people that work with good AI will.
Oh yeah.
And it was shocking that I was shocked at that. It was crazy.
It really is. I think AI is, I'll ask you the question.
Yeah.
Do you think we built AI, or do you think AI was already here and we discovered it?
That is above my. See, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach the world something right now. Ready? If everybody had this one skill that I'm going to teach you right now, the world would be so much better of a place. I want you to ask me that question again.
Okay.
Ready? Ask me again.
Let's do it. Do you think AI already existed and we discovered it, or did we create it?
I don't know, and I don't have to have an opinion on that. Learn that skill. like God, just the mindless dribbling of people that want, people have gone from like fraud experts to Middle East experts, all of this. Like, you don't have to know everything, and you don't have to have an answer to everything. I'm not qualified to answer that question, so I'm not going to. What I'm doing here today on this podcast is I wrote this book because if I could get in a time machine and go back and smack my 27-year-old self in the face with it and say, just do this, you'll be fine, I would. Because, people talk about regret a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, do you regret the things? And people are like, oh, I don't regret any of the struggles or any of the hardship because it made me smarter. It made me better. It made me this. I regret all the time I lost.
Do you?
Oh my God, 100%. Because I think to myself, yeah, I'm doing great now, but where would I be if I would have had an 8-year head start? And if I would have had this manual, which is really practical, it's not just hyperbole.
But do you think that you would still be here if you hadn't gone through those 8 years of experience?
I think, yeah, because a lot of the things, because look at the things you would have shortcutted and the money you would have had, right? The different things. When we talk about testing the market, like we talked about earlier, that's in this book. When we talk about understanding radical accountability and how to do honest inventories of your involvement with stuff, that's in this book. When we talk about how to build real plans that you can execute and to daily executable things, that's in this book. We talk about...
You're basically giving any structure manual on how to escape the system.
Is. Yeah, it is because so many people just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And everything looks so overwhelming until you get started. In this business, one of the biggest things that we help people with is credit challenges, right? Because people come in and they're credit challenged and they want to buy a house.
That's the first barrier, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And it never ceases to amaze me how many people have suffered with miserable credit for years and years and years and years. But you get them in here, and then all of a sudden we get them with a credit repair person that starts fixing their credit, and they're like, this is going to take 3 months. This is going to take 6 months.
Right.
And they're like, they all say the same thing. Well, why didn't I start doing this earlier? Because you looked at it as this just, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's what the system has done to me instead of what they don't want to look at their participation in the problem. But when you start analyzing it that way, it makes it really easy to get out. And that's what I want you to see from this book.
I love that. I love that because not a lot of people care about sharing their knowledge of their experience and their hardship and what they went through and putting it in the book so others can have a manual to follow.
Oh yeah, this is not a highlight. This is not a highlight reel. This is like I said, it's like a serial killer collects trophies of misery. It's and we'll go back. I'll show you some more in my office, but like another example of a trophy of misery that I actually just got a chance to rectify. 20 years later, I got a chance to rectify this, and
that's rewarding.
Cool. Yeah, I get a call after The Apprentice. I don't think this is in the book. This is not in the book. I get a call after The Apprentice, and somebody says, they're on the phone, says, "Hi, I'm calling from David Flabat's office." I'm like, okay. Who's David Flabat? They're like, "Oh, he's the creator of Will and Grace and a bunch of other sitcoms for NBC back in the day." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, okay, David's casting a new show for NBC. He saw you on The Apprentice. He thinks you'd be great for it. He wants you to come and read for it.
Okay.
So I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay, hang on, I'm gonna have to call you back. So I hang up and I call my buddy who's trying to be an actor in Hollywood. And I'm like, well, this is the casting director's name. He's like, that's legit. He goes, dude, you have to go do this.
Wow.
Like, you have to go. You have to go. They're going to fly you to New York and they want you to read. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you got to go.
That's like his dream.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, bro, you have to go do this. So they send me the script. They FedEx it down because I guess they just keep that stuff under wraps, but they FedEx it down and I get the script and it's for this show called Goody's Place. And I open it up and I start reading this script and they want me to read for like the lead role in this thing.
Okay.
Right. So I open it like 3 pages in and then enter the main character. And it says this, and this is a little bit of an ego drag. It goes, enter Goody Valletta. And I'm going to paraphrase exactly what it says. It says something like, overweight, mid-30s, boyish charm, but by no means man candy, or something like that. Wow. And I was like, whoa.
Like, they want you to play?
Like, this is who you want me to be? Like, this is who you think I am? I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. So then I'm reading a couple of pages later and enter his cousin, Vince, or whatever his name is. And it said, loud, tall, obnoxious, think Vince Vaughn from Swingers.
Okay.
And at that time in my life, I couldn't get, if I had a nickel for every time somebody compared me to him back in the day. I mean, the Today Show.
I can see it.
The Today Show put a side by side of us up back in the day. It was crazy when I was on that show. And so I was like, oh, I see what's happened here. So I fly to New York and I walk into this casting director's office and she's sitting there and there's a guy behind her with a camera. And it was like, it was sitting there and I walk in and I go, hi, how you doing? John Gafford. She's like, oh, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, yeah. And I go, I believe there's been a mistake. And I could just see the guy behind the camera. He kind of goes like this, like in slow motion. He goes, like, what? And I go, yeah, you said you wanted me to read for this, but I believe you really wanted me to read for this. And then she looks at me and she goes,
nope.
You could read for whatever you want. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, no. So of course, I never heard anything back from them ever. And I actually have that script framed in a shadow box in my office to remind me of the lesson. Like, I don't do this stuff just to torture myself. I do this because I always want to remind myself, don't ever assume you know what people want.
Hey, if you work with digital marketing, online sales, or manage clients, you know the right tool makes all the difference. I use Go High Level, and I can guarantee that this all-in-one tool brings results for all my clients. With CRM, email, SMS, automation, scheduling, landing pages, and sales funnels, integrated and easy to use, management becomes simple, productivity increases, and campaigns perform way better. If you want to grow in an organized and efficient way, access my link and see how Go High Level can also change the way you work and sell.
Don't ever make that assumption. That's my reminder for that. The vitamins are there to remind me to test the market before I go to market, right? That's why I have the vitamins in there. But all of these little things are reminders to myself to not make the same mistakes twice. But I did.
Do you think you would have gotten that role?
No, God, no. But I randomly, talk about the power of podcasting. I got an invite from A24 Films.
Okay.
And they said, we want you to read. We found you online. We have this part in this movie we're filming in Memphis and Jacksonville in 2 months. And we want you to submit a tape. And so I was like, again, I think there's zero chance I'm going to get this, but I submitted that tape exactly the way that they wanted me to do it. So now at least I know if I don't get the part, which I won't. I mean, I'm not an actor, so it's not going to be there.
You never know.
No, but here's the thing. But at least I know I got a shot at redemption to do it exactly how they asked, and that's what we did. So how's that?
It's incredible. Did you ever think about doing an actual acting career?
No. I mean, when I was a kid, my mom was very involved in like theater when I was a kid. And I would say that I did some local theater in my small town when we were there. And I would say if anything that helped me with was like public speaking. Okay. Always being a good speaker was there. And when I was maybe 14, I guess I was competing at a state level extemporaneous public speaking contest.
Because you're a great speaker.
At 14. Yeah.
It's so natural.
At like 14, I was competing for that and I would have won there was a controversy with the stopwatch. So we won't get into that. But yeah, I think that helped me be comfortable in front of people, which is fine, which I appreciate that. It's good. But as far as like quit my job and move and chase being an actor, I mean, does the thought cross? I think it crosses all of our minds, doesn't it?
Sure.
I think everybody thinks that once in a while.
Sure.
You see some overweight 30, by no means man candy guy on a movie. You're like, I could be that overweight man candy guy. But there you go.
John, if you could give me 3 of the top things that you think induce drifting, what would that be?
3 things that induce people to drift. Number 1 is comfort and their surroundings. They say all the time that you are the sum of the people you're around. And that is such an overplayed comment, but it's overplayed because it's true.
Right.
When I was traveling around at an early age with Hooters of America, one of the places I went was Detroit.
Okay.
And this is, 96-ish. It was still rust belty, doing well, Detroit. Yeah. And
bad boys, Detroit.
That was the hardest place I'd ever lived to make friends.
Okay. And
the reason it was the hardest place to make friends was because there was this cycle at that time, and hopefully it's been broken now, but with the auto plants then, it was like, you're born, your dad works at Ford, your mom works at Chrysler, whatever.
Right.
You go to high school, you marry your high school girlfriend, you buy a house 4 blocks away from your parents, and then you get a job at Ford. Wash, rinse, repeat. And it was like that for generations.
Wow.
So these people were just doing what they were almost bred to do. Yeah, systemically doing. You're bred to do. Oh, that's a good word. I'll tell you a good story about that. We're bred to do. And I think that causes environment. So if you're not where you want to be, look at who you're choosing to spend time around. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to say is your diet is very important, but not the one that you think. Okay. Yes, I think you should eat healthy. I think you should do that stuff. But what goes in your ears and your eyes is far more important than what goes in your mouth. Most people now are existing in an echo chamber that is regurgitating their own thoughts back to them 24 hours a day. If those are negative thoughts, you are being fed negative thoughts all day long. A good example of that. I used to love this band. I loved them. And the band was Social Distortion. And I still love Social D, but I don't listen to it anymore. I haven't listened to it for years because if you listen to the songs and it's their whole thing, their lyrics are just the most depressing, most visceral thing. And here I was riding around in this car.
The emo band?
No, well, I don't know if it's not emo, not really rockabilly, more rockabilly than for those of you listening, you know exactly what Social D is, but whatever. But here I'd be riding around in my car screaming these lyrics at the top of my lungs that were, even though I'm just singing along with a song about being in a broke down Chevrolet and I can't get a job and my girlfriend left me and whatever else. And you're screaming this and your subconscious doesn't really understand the difference between you're singing a song and that's really what's going on in your life.
Right.
And I think that if you're digesting this consistent diet of failure, misery, it's not your fault, everything's okay. Well, dude, your subconscious is going to believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you're going to go. So I would say that's the second part. The third part, I would say, is people don't understand how to build a plan to accomplish most anything, right? If I ask you right now, where are you going on vacation? Like you plan your next vacation.
France.
Like France. Okay, cool. So you're going to France, right? All right. How are you going to get there?
Airplane.
Which airline?
American Airlines.
Okay. Are you using points or are you going to spend money?
Money.
Okay, you're spending money. Yeah. Are you going to fly biz or are you going to fly first class or you fly coach?
We're going to fly biz.
You're going to fly biz class. Yes. Okay, cool. Lay flats?
I'm sorry?
You're going to fly lay flats biz class, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Where are you going to stay?
We're going to be in several different cities. We're going to Cannes, we're going to Nice, we're going to Paris.
Okay, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to get from city to city?
Airplane.
So you're going to transfer on an airplane. Where do you go from city to city once you're there?
We'll probably drive to Nice and then fly to Paris.
Okay, but before you leave, you're going to know the exact answer to all those questions, correct?
Okay. Yes, my whole itinerary.
Most people spend more time planning their vacations than planning their life.
100%.
They just think it's going to happen. They're just going to show up today and it's going to happen. If this is like, especially with real estate agents, I teach this emphatically.
It's a great point.
People want to know what makes successful real estate agents. I get asked that all the time. What's the difference between the $500,000 to $1 million performers or 7-figure plus agents and the average agent in America that didn't sell anything last year? What's the difference? And the difference is very simple. It's absolute clarity of goal and it's consistency of execution. But the goal is fine. But if you don't have a plan for how to get there, you're never going to get there. And so what I teach in the book is how to really set goals that make sense, how to materialize them in a way that, no, it's not manifesting. I'm not teaching the secret here, right. But how to make sure that it's forefront in your mind, and then how to build a plan through executable KPIs and actions that will get you to where you want to be. Because most people that I found that come in, and especially like real estate agents, again, not to talk about them again, but almost every real estate agent that comes in my office that wants to work here, and it happens a lot, I always say, do you have a plan? And most people in this business have never worked on a business plan before. All of our agents do. They all have a plan. That's awesome. Do you have a plan? No. How much do you want to make? $250,000. Why? I don't know. It just seems like a good number. Well, okay. Or if I have an agent that comes in and says, I want to make $250,000, and I say, why? And they go, because I am desperately trying to send my kid to med school and I want him to go debt free. Well, now when things get hard, or they don't want to do it, or they don't feel well, they don't feel like picking up that phone, they're not thinking about that call. They're thinking about their kid walking across that stage debt free.
Yeah.
That person has a much higher probability of achieving their goal than somebody that just throws out an arbitrary number.
For sure.
So again, that all goes into proper planning. But those three things, I would say, are what keep people trapped.
What would you say, now that we know the problem, what would you say would be step one to resolving it?
Radical accountability. One of my favorite sayings is don't stop pointing the finger, start pulling the thumb. Anything that goes wrong in my life.
Stop pointing the finger.
No, stop pointing the finger, start pulling the thumb.
Got it. Stop.
Right?
Got it.
Anything that goes through wrong in my life, my instant reaction is, what could I have done differently to change this result? Sometimes the answer is nothing. Sometimes it just rains.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it happens. But I am always looking internally first for why something didn't go wrong. We just had a slew of people. I guess the elections just happened in Texas, and they've been all over the news last couple of days. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those people that lost their thing, they all blamed somebody else. Mm-hmm. Like religion, somebody else, like, no, well, this is what they do. This is how they rigged my election. This is how they did this against me.
No accountability.
There was no maybe I did some things wrong. Maybe right. You know what? I congratulate the person that beat me. I need to run a better race next time. I'll be back. That's somebody I'm going to respect.
Yeah.
But that's the culture that we're in right now, is nothing can ever be your fault. You've got to point this off. Now, you mentioned a word earlier, which was systemic, which I like. So when you publish a book to a publisher, which this one is through Radius that came out, it first goes to a place called Publishers Weekly, which is kind of like they read it and they give reviews, and then they give a review, and then that kind of tells the book buyers like Barnes & Noble all the stuff what should do with this. And I got a review from them, and my publisher calls me and goes, we got a review back. Some of it's good, is what he said.
Okay. So it's mostly bad.
I said, some of it's good? He goes, yeah, some of it's good. I go, let me read it. And so I read it, and it said a lot of good things, and there were a lot of kind things about, especially because I do talk about my children and parenting them and advice that I've given them that pertains to the real world as adults, same way. But it said, occasionally, my advice can come off as trite because I fail to acknowledge the systemic issues and present all problems as solvable.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it said in this. So at first I was a little mad, and I slept on it. And I woke up the next day and I realized two things. Number one, this was one human being that read this. This was not a panel of people.
Right.
This was not the consensus of 1,000 people. This is one human being that lives in New York City that has their own views on the world.
Correct.
Right? And for them to say that they didn't like my book because I present all problems as solvable, you're damn right I do. That's 100% of who I am. And here's why. You do the same thing I do with this podcast, right?
Yep.
How many people have you had sit in the chair across from you that have absolutely no business being anywhere near the success that they have?
A lot.
I mean, I came off a boat from Vietnam with nothing, and now I own 200 doors, no education. Well, where's the systemic that held that guy down?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that guy winning?
Right.
Right? Because people that want to view their problems as solvable will find solutions.
Correct.
People that want to view their problems as problems with no solution will view them as excuses.
If you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, either way, you're right.
That's it. I mean, yes, some mountains are harder to climb than others. I'm not saying if you get diagnosed with cancer, there's not going to be challenges, and I'm not going to say you're automatically going to get better.
Right.
But I'm saying most of the problems that keep us up at night are self-created.
Correct.
Financial issues, credit issues, relationship issues.
Yeah.
Most of these problems we develop ourselves, and we've got a hand in them.
And giving up won't solve the issue at all.
No, kicking the can down the road is not helping. No. And again, I see that every day with people that are credit challenged that look after 3 months and they're buying a house. And they're like, why didn't we do this 3 years ago? Why didn't we do this? Because they just didn't think it was possible. So that limiting belief on people of not seeing problems, I mean, it's not a circumstance, it's a problem. A problem by definition is something that has a solution.
Yes.
Right? If you are born with some dilapidating disease, that's a circumstance. I understand that. You have a chance to, you can work through that, or you can work with that, or you can do the best you can. You may not be able to cure it, but you can work through that. That's a circumstance. My credit sucks. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? You're the dumbass that went out and bought a car at 22% interest and let it get repoed. That's on you.
Yeah.
Right? I've been that guy. I can say that. I did that. I've hidden cars from the repo man in my early 20s. I demolished my credit in my early 20s like it was an Olympic sport. I've done that. I can say that. So it's not anything anybody did to you. So much of what ails us is what we do to ourselves.
John, you're rich, successful. What drives you? What keeps you going?
Ah, man. That's a good question. So, I think when you have success, I think you go through, there's levels to the game of success.
Yeah.
You go through the buy stupid stuff mode, and
you realize it's all nothing.
No, I mean, I still got some stupid things.
For sure, same
stupid stuff that I have. But
you realize that like it wasn't as meaningful as you thought it was originally.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you buy an incredible car, and you drive it for a week, and then I've never had a car, and I've had some unbelievable cars that I get in after 3 months, and I'm like, they make me feel any different than getting from A to Z.
Right.
They just don't. My day to day that I take, it's funny. I have some beautiful cars in my house, and the one I drive every day normally is a Ford Bronco. That's just because I like driving it more than the other ones.
Yeah,
I just like driving it. But you get to a point where you start to realize the satisfaction that you get in seeing others succeed in information, coaching, or training that they've received from you. And that, I think that started when I had kids. I mean, I think when you have kids, your life changes dramatically because it no longer becomes just about you and becomes very much about them.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2. We got one of everything the store offered. So yeah, we're good. We got a boy and a girl. So we're very lucky in that way. And when you do that, you start to see that helping that next generation or helping other people. And I get so much more joy from watching people succeed or coming in and saying, hey, dude, I read your newsletter last night. It was amazing. It was like you were talking directly to me. Like, I love that. Like that's the stuff that means way more to me than anything that I can go buy. And anymore when it comes to money and that stuff, really, if I'm driven by anything, it's just experience now is everything.
Okay.
Like we try to do as many cool experiences as we can. That's what I'm focused on. It's always the next thing. I mean, we went in 3 weeks ago from today, 3 weeks ago, I was rappelling down a glacier in the middle of Antarctica.
You went to Antarctica?
Yeah. There were more people that climb Everest every year than go to where we were. So it was amazing. They landed a jet on the ice, which was wild. And
it was illegal to go to Antarctica.
No.
How does that work?
No, we went down there. They have it's called Wolf's Fang, Antarctica. They go down there and they drag everything by cat from ships. They drag it 600 kilometers into the middle of Antarctica. They build a runway, if you want to call it that. That was the sketchiest thing. It was like basically landing in a cornfield in Nebraska with a jet. Wow. That's essentially what you were doing. And then they just build this camp and they set everything up. And then at the end of every season, they tear it down and truck it out.
What'd you do there?
Rappelled down a glacier, went in an ice cave.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was one of the coolest things we've ever gotten to do. And so, yeah, that adventure travel and stuff I love. And I'm lucky I have a group of guys that we've done some really amazing things. And that's really the only thing that drives me financially is being able to afford that stuff because it's not cheap.
No, it's not. Where do you see this company in 5 years? Where do you want it to be?
Well, it's funny. We're in this weird space. with this company, and we literally just had a meeting about this, which is we're too small. Okay, we're too big. Like, we're not looking to exit. That's not what we're looking to do. And I don't want anybody to take what I'm going to say and think, oh, they're trying to sell. That's not what I'm saying. But all businesses at some point need to be acquired. It's just, that's the nature of the beast. And this business is too big to be purchased by a competitor.
Okay.
It's too big, but it's not big enough to be purchased by PE.
Got it.
So we're in this weird kind of no man's land, and we've decided to drive forward like crazy. We are bringing on some very talented people at a national level to grow the expansion of this company into other markets where we already have agents that are licensed, into Scottsdale, into Orange County, into LA, into these different markets where we think we can do very, very well and be competitive in the luxury market with the package that we have. So, we just kind of got to a point where, like, we got 585 agents here. I wish I could have 1,200 agents here, but with our hiring criteria, we'd literally have to have all the good ones.
I understand.
Which, Jesus didn't get them all. You're not going to get everybody as much as you want. So this will be the first time we've ever really pushed into other markets with our package.
It's going to be fun.
We're excited for it. It's good. I mean, we've got great, incredible people that work for us here, and the national expansion talent. I'm excited about it. So that's where we're headed.
I want to ask you a quick curiosity question, because you could touch on this.
Sure.
What do you think about companies like BlackRock buying single family homes, and then Trump now trying to do away with that?
Man, that's difficult because it's going to make me hypocritical. One of my gifts, right, is always kind of keeping my eyes to the horizon in the real estate industry. So when I first got licensed and moved here in 2007, the market obviously had just fallen apart. This was ground zero for the implosion. Mm-hmm. I moved here like, let's get a real estate license, and the market implodes. I learned very quickly how to do short sales and help people in that situation.
Okay.
We were very successful doing that. That led to working directly for the banks, doing disposal of their REO, their foreclosures.
Yes.
I was the number one foreclosure agent in the country for the biggest foreclosure processor in America.
Good for you.
Yeah. I would go to work wearing board shorts and flip-flops and turn my computer on and have 30 new listings a day. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy. And had staff that handled it all. Well, when that died off and we saw that kind of coming, I saw the hedge funds start to move in and start buying. This is 2012, 2013. I bought for both Blackstone and for Goldman Sachs. I bought for both of them in the marketplace there. And it was hundreds of homes we bought. Now, at the time, it's like there's two sides of every coin, right?
Of
so
course.
At the time, it was great because it was stabilizing the market. It was gobbling up the inventory.
Right.
It was driving the prices up to where we could get back to a more stable market. They were absorbing things.
Makes sense.
Well, here in Vegas, so a lot of you that have never been here don't understand. When people talk about Las Vegas, quote unquote, as a place, Las Vegas is actually made up of 3 cities. So it's made up of Las Vegas, what you would consider Las Vegas.
Right.
It's made up of Henderson, where we are now, which is in the south east corner, and then North Las Vegas, which sits on top of it. Okay. So all of that would kind of be considered, because we're all in the valley, right? We're all in the bowl. All of that would be considered Vegas to most people. Well, like 52% of all the homes in North Las Vegas are owned by the hedge funds.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So when it was happening to stabilize the market, I thought it was a good thing. Now that it's being able to essentially turn the U.S. housing stock into a commodity instead of the American dream, I think it's a problem. I like what the government is doing as far as limiting the purchase power going through. I don't know how they're going to get them to divest because a market like this, if the government came in and said, BlackRock, you have to, or Invitation Homes, you have to divest everything.
Yeah.
Goldman, you have to divest your entire housing stock.
The market.
It would tank the market.
Yeah.
It would implode. But I think what we need to do is we need to get back to a limit on institutional investors. I don't know what that is. Now, again, that's a problem for me because I am absolutely a free market capitalist, 100%. But I also believe that part at its core of what being an American is being able to own your own home. I think that's a promise that was made to the GIs coming back in the 40s. And I think that's been the core of kind of who we are as a society. Yeah. I think that's what gives people buy-in. That's what gives people stability. That's what gives kids roots. And I know that there's your gurus out there that, are doing multi-family investment syndication deals. They're like cash flow. Don't buy a single family home. Send me your money instead.
Right.
Well, yeah. My dad told me a long time ago, don't ever believe in a cause that's being told to you by the guy that's selling the signs.
Snake oil.
If you're selling the protest signs, I don't want to hear about the cause. I get it. You're going to benefit from that. But I think, again, we've got to get back to affordable housing for America. And I think...
How do we do that?
Man, there's a lot of different ways to
building more homes?
Well, great. Wonderful. But you look at an area like Vegas, a lot of people don't realize here, we're an island.
Yeah.
We're just surrounded by sand instead of surrounded by water. All of that land, when you fly in here and look like, God, there's land forever. Why don't they build? That's all BLM owned. That's all slated for conservation.
What does that mean?
So the Bureau of Land Management owns all that land, which is federal.
Got it.
And it's all slated for conservation because we have a water issue here, right? So with us, when you look at where we are, that's about it.
Yeah.
Like we can't go out. Like Phoenix doesn't have that problem, which is why if you've been to Phoenix lately, now it takes you 2 hours to drive from one side of it to the other because they're just urban sprawled like crazy. We can't do that here, which again is one of the reasons why the hedge funds love this market because it's completely insulated and they can shoot it up and down like a shooting gallery.
Right.
They love it. But I think what we've got to do is you got to get some sort of accommodation. I think interest rates have got to get back to affordability. You've got to get to that point. I do like some of the ideas. I like the portable mortgage idea. Okay. Because the biggest problem we have in the real estate sector right now is the golden handcuffs that everybody that got sub 3% mortgages during 2020.
Yeah.
Why would you go, like, for example, my house, right? For me to go to a comparable house right now from where I live, and I don't have a huge mortgage. I have a partial mortgage on my house. But percentage-wise, for me to go to a comparable house, my mortgage would quadruple.
Wow.
Based on the rate that I have. Mm-hmm. So why in the world would I ever do that,
Makes
right?
No sense.
So I'm going to stay right here. So you have people in the marketplace that want to do something. They're dying to do something, but they can't because they're handcuffed to this rate.
They're going to lose out so much money,
Well, I'm going to go to this other house. My payment's going to quadruple. Why would I do that? I'll just stay here in a house I don't necessarily need. Right. And so that's why there's been this rise in the last couple of years. A friend of mine, Pace Morby, is the top guy in it. He is the best guy educator in the world at it, but buying subject to being able to purchase properties with leaving the existing mortgage in place. Now, the challenge with that is, of course, is because all of those mortgages that were written have an acceleration clause on them, which means if the house trades hands, the bank has the right to call them due.
Okay.
All right. So what happens is like you would go in and buy a house. Let's say you own a house and let's call it 123 Main Street. So I would buy it from you, but I would form the 123 Main Street Trust. So it doesn't really look like you sold it to me. But if the bank ever finds out that it moves, then now they can call it due.
Got it.
Well, so something went into effect literally 2 days ago. Well, something went into effect literally. So there's been so much of that, which has been a great way for people to get into houses and get these low mortgages. Of course, the banks don't want these mortgages around.
Right.
And 2 days ago, or 4 days ago, something went into effect called FINRA, which now the idea or how it's pitched is they want to eliminate wire fraud in real estate transactions is what the pitch is.
Okay.
So now every single real estate transaction that involves a mortgage or involves cash, you have got to report all of the principals involved, even if it's an entity.
Wow. Is that nationwide?
Absolutely.
Wow.
That is a nationwide deal. Just went into effect. So now I can't go in and buy with an LLC. I can't go in and buy with a trust because I've got to disclose this. So now they're trying to figure out a way around it.
It's like the whole game.
Well, I mean, look.
Now you know who owns it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
For sure.
And I was watching an attorney the other day that was saying, no. So here's what we'll do now. We'll create a land trust, transfer the property in the land trust where the original owner is the beneficiary of the land trust, and then they'll resign as the land trust trustee, and then you'll just buy the land trust. So you're not actually buying the property, you're buying the trust that controls the property. And now I'm like, so now you're
kind of like wholesaling? Dude, kind of?
Well, wholesaling is another animal. Yeah. I am avidly against wholesaling. I'm the biggest anti-wholesaler you ever meet. That is a completely unregulated business where anybody with a computer and a telephone can get into it, and it creates no value. I am about businesses or opportunities that create value for consumers. So anybody that tells me, and here's the wholesaler pitch, and I'm sorry, wholesalers, but you're full of shit. The wholesaler pitch is, we provide a service because these houses are in disarray and the seller just wants an offer. So I go in and they get this, and then we bring a buyer. Well, here's the problem. The problem is the whole system is predicated on a lie, which is, we will buy your house cash. No, you will not.
Right.
Most people, 99% of people that do wholesale have no intention of ever buying the house.
Correct.
They just want to flip the paper.
Correct.
So they go in, lock it up under the pretense that they're going to buy it,
right,
which is fraud,
right,
and or assignee and or entity, whatever it says on the contract. Then they flip the paper to somebody else. I guarantee you, with the amount of flippers and investors and everybody else that are on there, if that house would have gone on the MLS, it would have got more money.
For sure.
It would have sold exactly as fast. The commissions would not be nearly as much as the wholesaler's fee is. I mean, I've seen some egregious wholesale fees. I did a deal in Arizona a couple of years ago. We were flipping luxury properties. I did a deal in a house where, don't feel too bad for me, because when it was all said and done, we still made 7 figures on it.
Okay.
But the assignment fees, because it was a wholesaler that flipped it to a wholesaler that flipped it to me.
Wow.
The assignment fees were $1 million.
What?
Yeah. And that absolutely could have gone to the original home seller. But they were just like, okay, whatever. And off it went.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with a business that's predicated in fraud, that doesn't create value for the seller at all, you're just equity stripping is all you're doing. You're stripping a piece of that equity, and you're definitely not knowing you're getting the best price. I hate that business. That's the realtor in me. I hate that. So
that leads me to asking you, what do you think of Web3 and blockchain for real estate?
Yeah. So again, as somebody that owns a title company, and we do extremely well on clearing title and making sure that title is right, I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfected it. We've had a couple people that wanted to look at our data and a potential, partnership with them to try to figure it out. Nobody's figured it out. And it's like a market like Vegas would be easy. It'd be very simple to do blockchain stuff, even though blockchain still, Web3 is not perfect. It never is perfect.
I can connect you with a guy that I know that's building a Web3 based way that you can basically remove the broker and buy all the real estate, all the property online through the blockchain.
Okay, and what would be interesting to see chain of title there, because again, like what I was going to say was, you look at a market like here, like an old house here is like 1965.
Okay,
right? That's an old like, oh my God, this house built in the 60s. Whoa, that's old. You go to New Orleans, where you've got houses built in the 1850s, and you've got some weird claims through. I mean, there's slave claims. There's all kinds of weird claims. Oh, there's all kinds of weird stuff that happens on some of these older markets like that. There's no chance you're going to be able to blockchain that. Just no chance, because something is always going to come up, or something's going to be here. That there's very complicated title work in the country.
Got it.
There's I would say it here, very simple.
Right.
But it's not one size fits all. And the problem with any industry is, if you can't standardize it for everything, it makes it very difficult to have adoption. Very difficult.
Because if you try to piecemeal it state by state, it'll take forever.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think that would work. So we'll see. I mean, look, I'm all for efficiency. I'm all for savings. I'm all for the American dream. I'm all for that. I'm not somebody that's going to stand outside and shake my fist at the moon like an old man. Obviously progress comes and things change, but I also understand the complexity of some of these problems.
John, 2 final questions.
Yep.
1, what's something that you want your kids to remember you by?
Man, that's a great question. Because my son is turning 18 on Saturday.
Okay.
And I got to write him a letter. And as part of that letter, I'm trying to been formulating all day what I'm going to put in it. I'm gonna sit down tonight and write it. But I know that one thing that keeps coming back that I want to put in that was I love my kids dearly, but I'm very hard on them because I know that the world is going to be much harder on them than I am. And I think by preparing them for that, that's the job. And that's what I want them to like. I want them to be like, oh, now I get it. Oh, now I remember. Now I get it. Now I understand. I think that's very much how my father was with me. It was a loving relationship, but I hold them accountable. There's no bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. We don't do that. We don't like the words fair have always been a bad word in my house. They're little. That's not fair. Fair's where you buy cotton candy. There's nothing fair about anything. Right. There's what somebody can do and what they will do. That's it. But yeah, I think I want them to remember me being hard enough on them to prepare, being loving obviously is one, but being hard enough on them to prepare them for the future. Because it's man, I got to tell you, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's going to be hard
for these kids today. And if you're a younger person that happens to be listening to this, I can tell you the skill that is going to be in the most demand in the next 20 years. Everybody's like, oh, study AI, study this, study that. Nope. You need to develop the ability to sit at a table just like we are right now, look across the table at somebody and connect with them as a human being in the eyes.
Amen. Because
most of your friends that are staring at their phone all day cannot do that.
No.
And and if they can't do it at 17, 16, they damn sure are not going to be able to do it at 28.
Right.
Develop that skill. If you're a parent, develop that skill in your kids early. When your friends come over, they need to look them in the eye, learn how to shake their hand, learn how to say hello, learn how to ask them questions, learn how to communicate. That's the best thing you can pass to your kids. Because that human connection is what people are going to be starved for.
Right.
And it's going to be in short order.
Last question, John. What would you say to a struggling entrepreneur, someone who can't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
I would say the biggest mistake people make, and again, I talk about this in the book, is you should not be doing anything. Like none of us are Elon Musk trying to figure out how to catch rockets.
Right.
Like there's a handful of people on Earth that are doing that. I don't care what you're trying to do. There is somebody out there that's either doing it already, has done it, or something close that you can talk to. If you're struggling, you need to ask yourself, where am I going for advice where am I going for advice?
Right.
Who's helping me? What does my network look like? Do I have the right people around me to help me answer these questions? Because, dude, one log makes a lousy fire. And it is very difficult to be a solopreneur.
What a great analogy.
Well, people say all the time.
I'm going to steal that one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Feel free. Feel free. People say all the time, it's like, back to my son. When he was little, I said, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And he goes, I want to be you, Dad. And I said, okay. What do I do? He goes, you're the boss. I said, okay. Why do you want to be the boss? And he goes, nobody gets to tell you what to do. And I said, okay. I said, do you want to know what the hardest thing about being the boss is? He said, what? I said, nobody tells me what to do. So if you're stuck or if you're having trouble, find somebody that is where you want to be. Find somebody that has knowledge you don't, and figure out a way to bring some value to them so that will reciprocate the value to you and help you get them stuck.
John, thank you so much.
You bet, man.
You're an incredible dude, man. And you are really, I love that you care about the American dream and that you care about families owning homes and having homes. And you've built a whole company around it. And you employ 800 people.
Overall, well, maybe not that many. We employ probably 650 overall.
That's still a lot of people, John.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's still a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, thanks. If you want to find more about me, you can connect with me on Instagram at djohngafford.com. djohngafford is my handle over all of the platforms, or you can go to djohngafford.com. You can also check out my podcast, Escaping the Drift, and the book, Escaping the Drift, is available.
Amazon?
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Yeah, everywhere. Go get your copy. Go learn to escape the drift. Incredible, John. Thank you.
I'll take.
And that's a wrap.
Guys,
like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.